If you're not eating enough protein, you're either leaving gains on the table or wasting your money. So how much protein do you actually need to build muscle? Today, we're going to be breaking down the real number using science. In this video, you'll learn the protein intake needed for maintaining muscle, building muscle, and during a cut. Now let's get into it. Let's start off with the protein intake needed for maintenance when you are sedentary. The minimum protein intake recommended to prevent deficiency is 0.36 grams per pound body weight. So if you weigh 200 pounds, you should be taking in at least 72 grams per day. Why is that? Remember that when you are sedentary, you are inactive, you are not going to the gym, you don't have a normal schedule, and protein intake is lowest at this point for several reasons. First of all, there's minimal muscle damage, there's less demand for repair, and there's normal rates of protein synthesis. Basically, the muscle building effect or anabolism is equal to the muscle wasting effect or catabolism. Another thing that occurs during maintenance is the protein sparing effect of carbs. Basically, whenever you're in maintenance or higher, carbs have an insurance or coverage of proteins if you're not eating that much protein. They're basically going to protect them from being broken down for energy usage. And those are why protein consumption is not really that high whenever you're in maintenance and don't have a normal gym schedule. Now, let's talk about the protein intake needed for bulking. So this is for somebody that regularly goes to the gym, has a normal gym schedule, is trying to add a bunch of mass, is trying to bodybuild, etc. For maximum muscle growth, research suggests consuming about 0.72 to 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. So if you weigh 200 pounds, that means you're going to be taking in about 146 to 200 grams of protein daily. Now, why is this? Why is the protein recommendation so much higher? Well, the more protein you eat, the more closer you are to your maximum muscle protein synthesis ceiling. And this basically is the maximum amount of benefits in terms of gains that you can get from eating protein. And research shows that consuming more than 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight is basically diminishing returns. And that means that there's not really that much added anabolic benefit for taking in more than 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. Now, why is protein recommendation so high whenever you're bulking? Remember that whenever you're bulking, you're going to the gym, you're doing all that volume, you're pushing those sets to failure. There's an increased recovery demand during your training. And this is how the body and the muscles repair themselves to grow. And most importantly, whenever you're bulking, there's maximum rates of muscle protein synthesis or hypertrophy. Basically, there's always a battle between muscle growth and muscle wasting or anabolism and catabolism. Whenever you're bulking, anabolism is at its peak. And again, to take advantage of this, you want to be eating as much protein as possible to help you repair your muscles and to help them grow. Now let's transition to somebody that is trying to cut. How much protein do you need when you're cutting? When you're cutting, you want to take in as much protein as possible and raise that up further on. Research is just saying that you want to be taking about 0.8 to 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. Now, why is this? Remember that when you are cutting, your goal is to preserve as much lean body mass as possible. Because for the most part, when people are cutting, they're trying to lose as much fat but maintain as much muscle to maintain that decent body type and that composition. And remember that lean body mass helps you to maintain a high resting metabolic rate, which will make your diet more easier in the future. Another thing that's really important is doing a calorie deficit or cutting. Protein catabolism, muscle wasting is much higher. It's even much higher doing a deficit than compared to maintaining or even bulking. So that's why it's very important for you to eat as much protein as possible to ensure that your body breaks that down instead of breaking your own muscle tissues down. Now let's talk about an extreme example. What if you are obese and you have a lot of weight to lose, like maybe 50 pounds, 100 pounds, 150 pounds? How much protein should you intake at that point? Well, if you're obese and have a lot of weight to lose, you should use your goal body weight to determine how much protein you're going to be taking in. So simply take your goal body weight and multiply it by 0.7 to 1 gram. So let's say you are 300 pounds and you have a goal body weight of 150 pounds. That means you're going to be taking in about 105 to 150 grams of protein per day. Now, why is this? Remember that protein recommendations are actually based on lean body mass and not total body mass for sake of simplicity. The truth is, the more lean body mass you have, the more protein you're going to need, even at the same weight as somebody else. For instance, a 300-pound bodybuilder with 10% body fat will always need more protein than a 300-pound obese man with 50% body fat. So in summary, for maintenance, take about 0.36 grams per pound of body weight. For bulking, take in about 0.7 to 1 gram per pound of body weight. And for cutting, take about 0.8 to 1 gram per pound of body weight. Well, that's it for the video. Thank you all for stopping by. If you want to learn how to set up your own calories during a cut so you can lose all your own belly fat, click this video right here. Peace.